If you're a business owner and you are getting leads for your business, but you are struggling to actually take those leads and convert them into high paying customers, clients, or students for your business, then watch this video till the end because I will be revealing 3 reasons why you are not able to actually get sales and convert those cold leads into high paying customers. My name is Rohan Dhawan and I run this company called as UAbility. In the last 6 years, we have been able to generate upwards of 3 lakh plus leads, over 50,000 plus appointments, and over 2,000 plus clients for our own business who have paid us a hell lot of money. And today I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to actually show you how exactly you can also crack the code. So without any further ado, let's get into the first reason why you are not able to get leads is because you are not talking to the right people. This means lead quality. So this is the most common issue that I see a lot of business owners face, and unfortunately they don't even realize it because they do not have a proper system to go about tracking the quality of their leads. For example, the other day I was talking to this business owner and they kept on saying that, Rohan, I'm just not able to get sales. I'm not able to get sales. And when I actually asked them, hey, what kind of leads are you talking to? Are they good quality or not? And they had a very ambiguous response. Yeah, some of them are good, some of them are bad. So I just asked them, what is your quality score? This means what percentage of leads are you considering as quality? And they had absolutely no answer to that. And that is the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, is they do not track the quality of the leads that they are getting. So here's something that I could definitely recommend to you. So if you do not track what kind of quality leads are you getting, then how exactly will you know if they are good enough to actually get on a call with or actually pitch to? And if you're just pitching to a bunch of random people, this means you are wasting a lot of your own time talking to junk leads, and you are wasting the time of your sales team as well, or whoever the hell is pitching in your organization. And that will lead to a lot of unproductivity, because imagine this, we all have just 24 hours in a day. Now, would you rather spend your, let's suppose, 8 to 9 working hours talking to people who are, available with the money, who have the urgency, who have the need and the requirement to actually buy your product or service? Or would you actually waste that time talking to a bunch of leads who are just not even the good fit for you, right? So what you can do is, I would highly recommend you go and create some sort of spreadsheet or some sort of grading criteria in your organization. And how you can do that is by simply creating a table, just like how you see over here. And I want you to divide that table into the following categories. First would be B, then it would be A, then there would be N, and then finally it would be T. Now let me explain you what exactly this basically means. B would stand for something called as budget. Okay, so does this mean, is if the lead that you're actually getting, do they even have the necessary funds to actually buy your advisor services or products? And if the chances are that they do not, then it would be very, very difficult. So what you can do is you can create different categories of the budget that you are required to have. For example, somebody could have a 5,000 budget, somebody could have a 10,000 budget, somebody could have, let's say, a 30,000 budget, somebody could have a 1 lakh plus budget, somebody could have a 10 lakh plus budget. So then what I want you to do is, I want you to assign a simple score to each category of lead that you're getting. So for example, if somebody only has 5,000 rupees to maybe spend on your product advisor services, maybe you will give them a score of 1. On the other hand, let's suppose, somebody has 10,000, maybe you'll give them a score of 2, then 3, then 4. And if somebody who actually has a budget of 10 lakh plus, what you can do is you can give them a score of 5, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. And this means leads that actually have this much budget, you will end up giving them a higher rating than individuals who have, let's suppose, a lower budget. So the second thing is called as authority. Now, a lot of times what happens is business owners end up talking to people who are not even the decision makers to end up buying the advisor service. So I don't know if you know about this company called as Byju's, but if they still exist or not, but whenever that company used to pitch their educational programs to, let's suppose, kids kids or children, they would not directly schedule the call with the child themselves. In fact, they would not even schedule the call directly with the mother as well. What they would do is they would make it a point, or their sales team would make it a point, to actually talk to the decision maker. This means they would deliberately ask on the phone, hey, would the father or maybe grandparents or someone important would also be present during the meeting or not? And if they used to say that, oh, father is not available or the decision maker is not available, what used to happen is they used to end up canceling that meeting, and they would schedule it at a time when the decision maker would actually be available. So this is very, very important. What you should also do is you can also create a category where you can assign score to somebody, like if somebody in Baiju's case, no decision maker is present, then maybe you will actually give that lead a score of 1. Or let's suppose maybe only the mother and plus the child are present, then maybe you can give them a score of 3. Maybe if the child is only present, right, or the student is only present, then you can give them a score of 2. Let's suppose if mother plus child plus grandparents are present, then maybe you could give them a score of 4. And where mother plus child plus dad plus grandparents if present, right, then maybe you can give them a score of 5. And this way you are now able to filter out people who are actually having the authority to basically buy whatever you are selling. And the higher the score, of course, the higher the chance of you being able to actually convert those leads. Now, by doing this simple exercise, just to give you a reminder, what your team or you will end up doing is you are now spending that relevant time talking to people who have the budget, people who have the authority to buy, and people who have the maximum score. And you can take this score, maybe put it on a spreadsheet, put it on your CRM, and only call those leads, or only actually put most of your efforts to the leads with the maximum score. Now, moving on, let's get into point number 3, which is called as N. Now, N stands for need. Okay, now what do I mean by this? This basically means how urgent is the problem that this individual is looking to solve, right? For instance, let's suppose you are selling some sort of weight loss offer. Okay, now what could happen is, let's suppose somebody who is not super obese, maybe they just saw some YouTube video or whatever, and they thought, okay, hey, I should probably get in shape. Maybe I should take care of my health, right? Now, that person might be, a little bit serious about their health, but not super serious to an extent where they are like going to go bonkers, right? Now, on the other hand, imagine this individual who has been obese since the last 10 to 15 years. Maybe, they have been on a yo-yo cycle where they have tried various kind of diet programs. They have tried various kind of workout programs, but still, sometimes they lose weight, sometimes they do not, and then they gain that weight back again. Now, as a result of this, their health is really getting impacted. Doctors are complaining that, hey, you have issues like diabetes, you have issues like other heart diseases and whatnot, which could result in, a lot of chronic diseases in the future. And that individual is super frustrated and they want a solution to actually lose weight ASAP, right? So, who do you think would be in a better position to actually buy any high-end product or service? And who would be in a position to actually invest more urgently in a particular solution? And who do you think has the maximum need to actually go and buy, whatever you're selling? Of course, would it be the person who really desperately wants a solution, who has tried everything? Or do you think it would be an individual who just came across some, workout video online and they are now thinking I should actually go about doing something? If you're smart, of course, you will actually pick the latter option. And that is why you can also start thinking, right? Maybe you could put some sort of lead criteria. So you could say not serious, right? Or you could maybe then create mild serious, right? Or then you could have serious, right? And then you could have kinda serious, right? Or whatever. And then you could have super serious, right? This could be something that you can decide based on whatever you are selling. And of course, the more serious the person, this means the higher their need, and then the higher the score that you can, of course, assign to them. Now, let's talk about the last one, which is time. So, a lot of times what ends up happening is you do end up finding somebody who has the budget, who are the decision maker, and they actually have the need as well to buy your product, advice, or service. But unfortunately, do you know what they lack? The timing is just not correct. Maybe they have, some other commitment. Maybe they are waiting for a project to get closed, get the money, and then actually buy from you. Or maybe, they have to travel somewhere, or maybe they have some health issues going on, or whatever the reason could be. But they are not in the condition to actually buy whatever you're selling right now. Okay. So therefore, what you need to do is, it's like really not worth it to talk to individuals who are just not looking for a solution ASAP, unless you basically don't have leads and you're operating in scarcity mindset. But point is, if you are actually spending your hours or working hours talking to people who are looking for a solution as fast as possible, they are willing to commit the time, they are actually in the need for a solution ASAP, then guess what? You would actually have a higher conversion rate, right? So what you can also do is you can also create criteria. For example, maybe you can say that, hey, this person is willing to start in 180 days. Maybe somebody who's willing to start in 90 days. Maybe somebody who's willing to start in 60 days. 30 to 60 days, right? Then it could be under maybe 30 days, right? Maybe they want a solution in under 30 days. And then maybe you could have somebody who wants a solution as soon as possible, right? They're like, hey, tomorrow if you give me whatever you're selling and there's a solution to whatever problem that you're solving with your business, I would be actually willing to invest ASAP. So in that case, what you would end up doing is people who want the solution as fast as possible, they have the time and they are willing to commit that time, then you would end up rating these people 5. On the other hand, people who are looking for a solution maybe 90 days, 180 days and later, maybe you would end up giving them a lower score. And what you can do is you could put a date next to it on your CRM, on your spreadsheet, and you can basically follow up with these individuals later on in the future when they would end up requiring whatever you're selling. So this way, if you are able to actually do this kind of qualification and assign a score, what would happen is, let's suppose I get a lead and maybe they have, let's suppose a 1 lakh budget, right? And maybe, the decision maker, all of them are present. So maybe what would happen is, let's suppose they have a budget of 1 lakh. So I would maybe give them a score of 4. Then let's suppose that they are the authority and the decision maker. I would probably give them a score of 5. Okay. And in terms of seriousness, maybe they are not super serious, but they're kind of here serious. So I'll just probably give them a score of 3. And let's suppose I get a lead which says that, hey, I'm looking to actually get the solution under 90 days. So what I would do is I would give them a score of 4. So now let's do some math, right? 4 plus 5, which is 9, 9 plus 3, which is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you basically divide that by 4. So this means the average score that we get for this particular lead would be 4, which may be considered as a very hot lead that you might want to talk to. On the other hand, let's suppose they give you a lower rating. Let's suppose 1 here and 2 here and then maybe 2 here and then 1 here again. Then probably the average score that you would get would be between 1 and 2. So let's suppose the score is 1. Now tell me, would you rather spend time talking to a lead which has scoring of 1, or would you end up talking to a lead which has, a scoring which is higher? Just you be the judge, right? So here's why now you should be able to calculate how many people you are able to actually get, which are more of the 4 numbers or the 5 numbers as compared to the people with the lower numbers. And the more you get of these, the higher your lead quality would be. And as a result, guess what? You would be able to get more sales because now you're spending that time talking to the right qualified people. So that is reason number 1 why you're not able to get any sales. Now let's get into reason number 2, which is lead nurturing. So what do I mean by that? Now, a lot of times whenever you are maybe getting on a call, maybe you're doing any kind of live presentation or whatever the case might be, a big issue that a lot of business owners face that stops them from getting a lot of sales is that people do not actually end up trusting you. This means that they actually doubt, would you be able to actually fulfill the service or product that you're actually selling? Are you a legit organization? Do you think that you will actually scam them and run away with the money and go to Bangladesh and actually hide somewhere? So those are some concerns that a lot of individuals have, especially when they're interacting with somebody online. And unfortunately, this has happened because of a lot of scams and whatnot that go on. And I don't necessarily blame the consumers. It's just the world that we live in. People are just more cautious. So how do you actually go about building trust and nurturing your leads? Now, according to a study done by Google, they actually reported that before somebody actually buys something from any company, an individual spends around about 8 hours consuming some sort of content or some sort of written content. It could be video content, audio content, or whatever the case might be, and has approximately 7 to 8 touch points with that particular individual before they make the decision to actually buy whatever they are selling. So what does that mean? This means we need to go out and be sort of like present in front of our audience, and we need to ensure that we are giving them enough value to ensure that they are able to build that some sort of relationship with us online, and then they also have that more trust to actually go ahead and buy whatever we are selling. So how do we go about doing this? Well, first thing that you can consider is, what a lot of people do is they would do some sort of marketing, okay, then they would generate the lead, right, and then they would expect to just call them and start selling them, or invite them somewhere and start selling them, right? This is wrong, because nowhere over here is this nurturing or trust building thing is happening. So what you can consider doing is, next time whenever you just generate a lead, rather than straight away going and pitching them whatever you're selling, what you can do is you can maybe add some sort of mechanism in between. It could be maybe some sort of webinar presentation, it could be some sort of video, it could be maybe some sort of audio content, it could be some sort of ebook, or it could be an actual book, right? Or something which allows this person to understand more about your brand, more about your organization, more about what exactly you're doing, so that they are feeling a lot better when it comes to taking their hard-earned money and giving it to you. So you can consider that. And this is one of the best things that you can actually do, because when these people actually see this content and they understand the value that you're bringing to the table, and they can also understand how you are different or unique compared to other people out there, then they would be in a much better position to actually buy from you. Now, if you want to learn how do you go about creating an amazing webinar, you can go to my YouTube channel and literally just type Rohan Dhawan webinar or presentation or something like that, and you will be able to actually see a whole video tutorial where I'm breaking down how do I go about creating this entire webinar presentation for yourself. So let's suppose you had these 100 people go through your marketing, 100 people end up your webinar, and 10 people end up buying whatever you're selling. Still, what would happen is you would have 90 people who haven't actually, still decided, despite the fact you are like, okay, Rohan, I've added this webinar, I've added this book or whatever you're telling, and I'm nurturing these leads, but still not everybody ended up buying whatever I'm selling. That's a great thing, because, some people just probably won't attend your webinar, or maybe they won't see the video, or even after seeing all this, they will still be like, hey, you know what, I still need to know this person a little bit more, because there are like two types of people on earth. For the first category of people would be like, hey, they will go to a date, and instantly after the date they are like, wow, I've decided to actually fall in love with this person and they are my soulmate. It's kind of like, have you seen that movie Dhoom, where there's this character Yash, wherever he sees like this Uday Chopra, basically he sees this woman or whatever, and he starts imagining his entire life with that particular person. So that's category 1 type of people. And category 2 type of people, they are like, you know what, I still want to go on a few more dates, I still want to actually get to know this person before I make the commitment to this individual. So for those people, which honestly are majority of the people, right, what you would have to do is, then you can think about sending more regular content to these people, getting them to maybe subscribe to your YouTube channel, and posting videos regularly there, kind of like how I'm doing right now. Maybe chances are that you came across me ages ago, but you still weren't convinced that, hey, is this Rohan guy legit, or I don't know, he's like some scamster or whatever, right? So point is, you can record YouTube videos, you can consider doing podcasts, right? And you can consider maybe creating Instagram content or reels. You can consider sending emails. Maybe you can consider even I don't know what other platforms are there. I don't even know what. TikTok is not even, I think, allowed here, but whatever. Maybe Snapchat you want to consider. Point is, for me personally, YouTube, emails, Instagram, and maybe appearing on some podcasts ends up doing most of the job, right? So to these 90 people, right, what you can do is you can consider actually sending them these content pieces every now and then. They will keep seeing them, keep seeing them, keep seeing them, and eventually they might consider that, hey, you know what, this person is actually making sense. Now I feel much more of a relationship. And guess what? They would actually end up buying from you. In fact, a recent study that I did probably last month, where I actually analyzed the people who actually bought my advice and services, I realized that the average person last month was following me for 14.5 months on average before they ended up making the decision to actually buy something from me, right? So similarly, if you are just focusing on just top of the things, and you're not doing active activities to nurture your audience, build a relationship with them, then guess what? You are definitely not doing enough to build trust with these individuals, and this is the reason why you're not getting sales. So that being said, so far we have covered 2 points, which is number one, you are probably not attracting quality people or the right kind of leads into your system. That's why you're not able to get sales. And the second one is maybe you are attracting the right kind of people, but they are still not trusting you enough, because of which they are not buying from you. So without wasting any more time, let's get into point number 3, why people are not buying from you. Third reason why a lot of people do not get a lot of sales is because of poor sales process. So what do I mean by this? A lot of business owners, they actually do end up getting quality leads. They actually might end up getting few people who are nurtured. But you know what? Even despite a lot of your content, if you as the founder, or if your business does not have a good sales process that takes somebody from not knowing much about you all the way to actually trusting you, what you are lacking is something actually so radically important. Because if you do not actually go about doing this, even if you get all the eyeballs into your system, all the leads that you can imagine, and you do not have a process to actually convert them, guess what? You will keep on getting objections and you will keep on losing on sales. So what do I actually recommend to a lot of people? So why exactly does this happen, and why exactly are people not converting, and why exactly are they not giving you the money? Is because a lot of people are too obsessed about selling features. So whenever I hear some sort of sales presentation, or whenever I hear a business owner pitch to somebody, what I hear is they are always talking about features. Hey, you should buy from me because I can actually do digital marketing for you. I can actually help you out with SEO. I can actually help you out with PPC. I can help you out with the ad campaigns. I can actually help you go viral. I will actually help you with RPM, CPM, blah, 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 and all these complicated terms. And now in today's time, AI agents is that next big thing, which ends up even complicating your audience even more. Because a lot of people think that if I end up using a lot of jargons, this would actually be much more beneficial for my audience as compared to figuring out what they really need. And this is why, guess what, when a lot of these business owners get on calls, or maybe their team gets on calls, they end up complicating and confusing the customer a lot more by using these jargons as opposed to really understanding what they truly desire. So this actually happened recently. Not too long ago, I was talking to this fitness coach and I was hearing his sales pitch, right? And what he used to do is whenever he would get on a call with somebody, he would just use all those jargons. He would talk about macro, micro, protein, carbs, fats, this diet, that workout program. It just used to confuse the hell out of his prospects, and they did not actually end up buying from that individual. So what I did is I thought, hey, let's rework the sales process and let's create it from scratch. And in this process, what we are going to do is we are going to get away from feature-based selling and we are going to actually go into transformation-based selling. So what do I mean by this? I basically told that person, next time you go on a call, simply just draw, let's suppose 2 islands. This is island number 1 you can call, and this is called as island number 2. Okay. And what I want you to do is, on the call, just simply ask this person and ask them to paint this particular picture of them being stuck on this island, because this is something called as Hell Island. This is the island that a lot of your prospects are stuck at. This is where there is lack of food, there's lack of proper shelter, there's lack of the lifestyle that they actually require. And they are basically very, very sad over here. Okay, so I asked him, hey, just go talk to your customers and ask them what is the biggest challenge that you're facing. Can you tell me a little bit more about your current circumstances? So what this person did is, when he asked these questions to this individual, he basically learned that his customers were facing, let's suppose, with obesity issues. And which is something that, of course, everybody knows. And a lot of people just leave it till this extent. But then I told that person, go a step deeper and understand, hey, what is happening because of, them being obese? And they started hearing things like, my client was telling me, Rohan, that next time I wanted to really attend a party, I could not because my shirt was just not fitting. Or I was feeling a little bit embarrassed because all my friends are in shape, but I'm not in shape, and it just like makes me feel a little bit awkward, and that's why I don't want to mingle with people. Hey, actually, my wife was actually planning a vacation to go out somewhere, maybe to a beach, but I was not just comfortable going there because I didn't want to, I don't want people to see my body when I'm at the beach. And this is resulting in what exactly is what I asked him. So I told that person, now go a step even deeper. And what this happened is that person said, hey, because of all this, I'm having confidence issues. And because of this confidence issues, I'm just not feeling good about myself. And this is resulting in depression. All right. Now, we had a very, very clear term, which is depression, lack of confidence, right? And then I asked this person, okay, this is in terms of mental health, but what about other things? Well, because of obesity, that person learned that, hey, they are on the verge of having sugar issues or diabetes issues. And I just asked that person, hey, go a step deeper and ask them, because of these diabetes issues and, all that stuff, how much cost is it going in terms of the treatment for these issues? And, what we learned is that, we learned that the cost is in lakhs. Right? The cost is in lakhs already. And then what's going to happen if diabetes and all these issues are not solved? What is going to be the final thing which will actually make this person realize that, shit, I'm in this position and I desperately need help? Because if you do not solve diabetes and if you do not solve all these issues, what happens? Death. Right? So now this is the hell island that this person is stuck at. Now what I did is, I told this person, now I asked this person about how does island number 2 look like for them, for the prospect they are talking about. And they said, hey, if I could actually lose weight, I'll be a lot happier because I'll finally be able to travel to the places that I truly want, that to be with my family. Then, most importantly, my cost equals less. Why? Because I'll have to spend a lot less money on medicines, a lot of treatments and whatnot. And then, most importantly, life expectancy. This means if I actually end up losing weight, I'll be able to live a lot longer. So the question is, what is the cost of this person having an additional 2 to 3 years of their life? What is the cost of them being able to actually get all these benefits by taking your advice or services? So when this person flipped the script, and instead of talking about those diet plans, carbs, micro, macro, whatever the crap it is, when they actually started talking about this transformation, and then they said, hey, in order to actually fix all these problems and help you get over here so that you can finally achieve this, the charges are whatever your charges are. Guess what? This will result in a lot higher conversions than the current sales process that you are following. So here's a tip for you. Go and listen to the call recordings of yourself. Go listen to the call recordings of maybe your sales team. And if you don't do calls at all, maybe you do some sort of webinar presentation, maybe you do a one-to-many activity. Go listen to those recordings and analyze, are you obsessed about selling features or are you obsessed about creating transformations? Because if you actually end up making this change, guess what? Your sales will increase, right? So that being said, team, these are the three reasons why you're not able to get sales. The first reason is you are just not getting qualified leads. Number two, you might be getting qualified leads, but the fact is that they just do not trust you because they haven't been nurtured enough. This means you are not sharing enough value with them and just expecting them to buy from you. And the third reason is you just don't have a good enough sales process. Maybe chances are you're too obsessed about selling features as opposed to creating transformations. So go and analyze and let me know in the comments which is the number one issue that you're facing because of which you're not getting sales, and then how do you go about planning to actually fix this particular issue. Rohan Dhawan here. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Do share it with another friend, maybe a business owner or somebody planning to start a business who would find this video helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.